Hey everyone, welcome to the summer 2020 Mobilize Jobs information session. If you are logged in to this webinar or listening on YouTube as a part of your application process, know that you're in the right place if you're looking to work in the United States and if you are looking to start your experience some point between, let's say, August 2020 and October, November, December 2020. We're going to cover the remainder of this coming summer, and we're going to cover next fall as well and what that winter transition is going to look like. My name is Benjamin Guth. I'm the president and program manager here at Mobilize, and you'll have all of my contact information at the end of this session. And hopefully by the end of this, you're going to have a really great understanding of what it is that we actually do and what you've applied for with the Mobilize experience. So without further ado, let's just jump in. And my goal here is to answer all of your questions in advance and also give you an update on what's happening with Mobilize during the time of COVID. Okay, jumping right in. So what the heck is Mobilize? We often get this question first, this sounds too good to be true, this sounds insane. So I want to walk you through exactly what it is that we do and what our goals here, what we're trying to accomplish. So Mobilize is a national tourism employment initiative. And what that means is we work with a group of employers, hotels, resorts, restaurants that are all struggling to find American staff and need some extra help, need to be able to offer a little bit of an extra incentive to really great employees to be able to convince them to relocate to their tourism destinations. And so we tend to operate within the resort sector, the hotel sector, or the restaurant sector, and we really focus our energy on locations that are struggling to find locals. And that's because sometimes it's a very, very busy season in a small town. And for summer, it becomes absolutely crazy busy. They get this surge of guests and there's just not enough of a local population to help fill those jobs. Or it might just be that they're in a year-round destination and there's not a lot of people that wanted to work in the hotel industry in that region. And so what Mobilize does is we go and we find really motivated, excited, adventurous people who are either interested in being in the industry, in the hotel, restaurant, or hospitality industries, or who are just, looking to have an adventure and get out of their hometown and try something totally new. This can be a 6-month placement or a 4-month placement if you're just looking for, a little working holiday. Or this, we've got people who have been doing this for about 5 years now, and every 6 months they go somewhere new and try a different adventure and, have a great time. So again, there's a lot of flexibility within this program, as you'll see once we continue to these future slides. But at the very core of this, what is Mobilize? Well, we're a group of employers and a group of job seekers and a really, really cool adventure opportunity to bring those two groups together. And so we stitch together seasonal opportunities that are often 4 to 6 months in length, work with you to accomplish whatever your career goals are, whether it's just a short-term gig or a long-term gig, and we send you somewhere awesome. And we work with you to find that perfect dream job for however that period of time is to be able to have that travel adventure experience within your own country. So again, we're going to talk more about the specific jobs and the specific locations and housing a little bit later, but I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that at the very core of this, it's a work and travel adventure program within the USA. We have been operating now for about 5 years, almost 6 years. We've completed 13 launches already. We've sent out roughly about 1,800 people have participated in this program to date. They're all crazy adventurous, just like you. And they're, this program started with a sister program up in Canada, and about 3 years ago, it migrated down to the United States, and we work in a number of different states right now and are growing like crazy. This is a really reliable, incredible option for employers who traditionally have not had access to reliable, incredible people like you. And so what we're trying to do is remarket careers in the tourism, hospitality, and restaurant sector and offer, really expose job seekers to jobs that they didn't necessarily know they were eligible for. You know, what you might be worth in one state, you know, in a busy resort might be very, very different from the wage and the experience that you're worth in another state. And we want to bring that all together, stitch together those seasonal jobs to give you year-round full-time work if that's what you're looking for. So what are the key components here? What are the questions that we most often get? You know, is this going to be full-time? Am I going to be paid? Of course, this is full-time paid employment. These are jobs just like you'd see in your hometown, except usually they're a lot more fun. There's absolutely no cost to you to participate in this program. Okay, we are employers. We are helping you find jobs. This is not about paying us a fee to participate. The only thing that could possibly come up as an expense are the same things that would come up if you tried to apply for a job yourself. So you'll have to get yourself to the job. You'll have to make sure that if there is a license requirement that you don't possess, let's say you're getting a job as a driver and you need a driver's license, you're gonna have to go out and pay for that license if there's a fee for that. Again, that's not for us. But at no point is there a cost to participate in this program. It does make sense to have a couple bucks in your pocket though before applying, simply because sometimes there are expenses when it comes to moving and you should be prepared to cover those costs. A big question we get is, well, where are we going to live? It would be crazy for me to try to relocate you to a different state across the country without arranging housing. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that separates Mobilize from anyone else out there is that we're always going to make sure that housing is a part of the package. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be free housing, but we're going to negotiate it into the wage for you, and we're going to argue on your behalf to get that best possible wage. So we're going to work with you to make sure that after housing is deducted, so you still might be paying rent, but you're going to be making a few bucks more per hour, and then they're going to deduct that for housing. So you don't have to find a place to live when you get to that location. You're always going to have a place that's safe, that's clean, that's close enough to work, so that you don't have to, you know, go through that process on your own. We're gonna help you with that, and we're gonna make sure that it's all been vetted and that we've got pictures of the housing in advance and that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. On top of that, you know, a big question I get is, how much are we going to be getting paid? Well, the wage changes in every location. Every state is different, every resort is different, every placement is different. But I want to make sure you don't think that this is going to be $1 million program. It's not. You're not going to get 75 bucks an hour when working in some of these resorts. The purpose of this program is to break outside of your comfort zone, to try something new, to travel to a new location, to work somewhere gorgeous, to be somewhere outside of the norm, and that's a little bit that was beyond what you initially thought you were capable of, and actually, you know, make that happen. And so, you know, we've got properties in Cape Cod, we've got properties in Colorado, we've got properties in Utah, we've worked in about 12 different states so far, and we're growing like crazy. And you know, with this program, it's more about the experience, the adventure, the places that you're going to be working, the things that you're going to see, the ability to travel and make new friends, than it is about making as much money as possible. If your goal is, I want to make as much money as possible, you know, I think there are sewage treatment plants in Alaska that are hiring like crazy right now. This program's probably not for you. Okay, apologize in advance if that was your primary focus. But if you're looking to have an experience, if you're looking to have an adventure, that's what this is all about. Again, it's full-time paid work. We ensure that you're always going to be making a living wage, and you're always going to be making enough to survive and go on these adventures and try these activities. And that's something that is important for you all to understand, that we're working with you to make sure that we're getting you the best possible opportunity available. Another question I get is, can I apply with friends? Of course. Or if you want to travel on your own, I would say about 70% of the mobilizers in the program travel on their own. And so we'll actually make sure that you're working in a placement with another mobilizer. And all mobilizers are awesome. They all pass the, do you want to hang out with this person test. Everybody goes through personal interviews, and so we want to make sure that people are the right fit for this program. And as a result, the type of people that actually participate are adventurers just like you. They're people who are, taking a break or going on an adventure or trying something that they've never tried before. And oftentimes the friends that you make in this program are going to be friends for life. We've seen now 5 mobilized weddings and 5 mobilized babies as a result of this program. I'm not selling this as a dating program, but we have, you travel and you're in extreme, unique, interesting situations with people, and that bonds you for life with them, and it's a tremendous amount of fun. And the type of people that are mobilizers and are successful in this program, they stay in touch with us for years, and we have a internal Facebook group that everybody's always communicating with each other and chatting and sharing advice and guidance, and it's just a tremendous amount of fun. Another question we often get is, do we have to travel? No. I mean, if there's a job in your hometown and you want to live at home and work in that job, that's fine. You can do that. It's kind of the point of the program, though. I mean, it's kind of silly. It'd be like trying to go to a restaurant and ordering airline food. I'm sure you can get it, but the point of this is the opportunity to explore and travel, and not be committed to something for the rest of your life, but be able to have that 6-month adventure. And another question I get, tell me about housing. Every location is going to be different, obviously. If we're working with 100 different properties, there's not going to be 2 identical situations. We've seen apartments, we've seen houses, we've seen cabins. There was one property that wanted to put people up in tents, but I didn't take on that location. Generally, you're going to have a roommate. That's pretty much a guarantee in a lot of these locations, because traditionally rent would be absolutely insanely expensive if that wasn't the case. But we're always going to make sure that COVID protocols are in place and that it's clean and that it's safe, and that everybody, if there is an interstate travel, that there's going to be a place for you to follow whatever the COVID guidelines are for self-isolation. So again, the final stage of this process, when you're deciding where you want to go, you're going to be able to see pictures, you're going to be able to see details of the locations, details of housing, details of the job, and you'll be able to make that decision before you make any formal commitment. So, so again, plan for there to be a roommate. You're not going to have 6 people in your room. It's usually just one roommate if that's the case. But I want to make sure that you understand that there are that expectation that there might be a roommate that you'd be sharing that space with. If you want to travel with someone and that person is a part of the program, we can absolutely work really hard to get you guys in the same room. So that's not going to be a concern. But again, in the middle of the season, if you try to apply right now for a summer position, of which we've got only a handful left, and you want to travel with 4 people, it's probably unlikely that I'll be able to get all of you together. Another question I get is, what about my furry friends? What about my dog? What about my cat? What about my snake? I want to bring my gopher with me. I would love to say, yes, you can bring all of these pets, because that would make for a really fun environment. But the truth is, in staff housing, you've got individuals who might be allergic to animals. You might have a busy shift one day and not necessarily have the ability to go out and walk your pet. And it's just too difficult for me to say yes at that stage. Every property is a little different, and somebody might say yes, but in my 5 years, maybe only one dog has actually been relocated. So the reality of the situation is that it's probably not likely that you can bring your animal with you. The same goes for family. Unless you want to arrange your own housing, bringing kids, bringing spouses that aren't a part of the program, it's probably not likely that we're going to have an opportunity for them to have a place to stay with you. It's just, you can go out and find housing on your own at that location if that's something that you'd like. You're still absolutely encouraged to apply and to get that job, but you're going to miss out on a lot of that experience. So just something to be aware of. So let's talk about kind of who our ideal mobilizer is. Now, historically, the average age of this program is about 21 to 40. Now, that being said, we have a few 70-year-olds that have been in the program, and they party harder than any of my 21-year-olds. You know, there's no age limit to participate in Mobilize. There's tremendous opportunity to try all kinds of different roles, and we'll work with you to find the right one. But historically, we've seen mobilizers tend to fall within that 21 to 40 range. Please don't be discouraged. There's no limit. If you are older than 40, but you're young at heart, and this is something that you want to do, apply. You know, go through the process. Let's see if we can find something awesome for you. The second area here, you have to legally be able to work in the United States of America. What that means is I cannot sponsor anyone for an H-2B visa. I cannot handle your immigration paperwork for you. You need to be a legal potential employee in the country, and we'll have to verify that information in order for you to participate. I wish I could sponsor based on various immigration programs, but they don't really exist right now for something when you're dealing with 40 or 50 plus employees or 50 plus locations at any given time. This third section here is an interesting one, and there's always, you know, an exception. There's always an opportunity to discuss certain situations, but generally, because we are arranging staff housing, we need to make sure that, you know, from a risk and a liability perspective, that if you have a roommate, that roommate has a security clearance, and that, you know, they're not going to be an axe murderer. And so, you know, I understand that sometimes these records are a little ridiculous and go back 20 years. My advice to you is be open, honest, and transparent. Be realistic, and understand that if you have an interview with us and you have a cannabis charge from 20 years ago, that's not going to affect your application with us. That's ridiculous. Generally the back check that we do or that we request goes back somewhere between 5 to 10 years. And if there's a degree of severity that's involved, that's a discussion that we can have. But again, open, honest transparency is the most important thing that I can guide you on. If you come into the interview process and you say, I've never had anything on my record, and then we go and do the check and you have a minor charge from 20 years ago, it's not the charge that's going to cause you to be discounted for the role. It's going to be the fact that we can't trust you. And again, in a program like this, that transparency, that honesty is crucial, and that goes both ways. You'll never get a non-transparent answer from somebody at Mobilize. We're always going to give you the open, honest truth, because the truth is, when we've got thousands of people that have gone through this program, there's no opportunity for us to be dishonest, because we wouldn't be able to remember what that story was that we were sharing. So we truly believe that if we manage your expectations properly, if we are as open and honest as possible with you, if you have an accurate representation of what that job is going to be like once you arrive, then it's going to be a much more successful placement. The same goes for this next area. We're looking for people who have graduated high school, not because some of these jobs require that education level, but because the most important thing for us is that people honor their commitments. That there's no fee for you to participate in this program. And what that means is the only way that Mobilize Jobs can survive is by charging the employers a fee for finding you and relocating you after you've been there for a while. And so if you arrive and you're miserable and you leave after a week, it's America. There's no punishment for that. But at the end of the day, that's going to damage the program. It's going to damage, you'll never be able to work with us again. The employer's never going to hire from us again, and the Mobilize program won't succeed. And we've only been around 5 years, so we work really, really hard to make sure that each and every one of our candidates, has as much information as they need to be able to make an informed decision, and then to commit to that decision. And we ask that if you're going to make a decision and commit and travel and relocate, that you really make sure that you're ready for this kind of an adventure. So that's going to be a big part of this. Make sure that is something that you're ready to do. And one of the reasons why we screen for high school grads is because, or GED. GED is totally fine, but we want to make sure that you have been able to honor a commitment in the past. And, you know, if you've got no work experience, or, you know, you ditched school in grade 10 and you've never had any interest in going back, you know, that message that's sent to us is that, that, you know, that you're not going to commit or honor your commitment to us either. So really, again, not major criteria there. Really, the main thing is this last section, and it might sound silly, but we're recruiting based on attitude. We're recruiting based on grit, based on personality, based on people who, you know, can make that commitment, who are excited, who can, when things get tough and you're in a ski resort in the middle of winter and it's cold and the snow's up to your shoulders and it's, you know, dark at 5 o'clock, and you know, you get homesick, that you have that ability to push through that and find the fun. Because a big part of this program is, you know, is being able to find a new adventure when you go somewhere new. We can talk more about that later, but that is a big piece here that we're going to be looking for during the interview process. So where are you going to go? Big question. We change locations almost every day. Mobilize is always looking for new properties. We operate in a number of states. We have a sister program up in Canada. We're always looking for various people, but depending on how long it takes you to actually go through the interview process, your position might be taken by somebody else. You know, we recruit dozens and dozens and dozens of people every single day, and we interview a massive number of individuals. And so if you drag your feet on the application process or the reference check process, then you know, you might lose that one spot, but another one in a different location might open up. As of right now in August, I know that I've got locations in the Northeast. I've got locations coming up in Utah and in the Rockies. So again, there's various options available for you if you know, you're interested in a summer or a winter placement. My strongest recommendation is don't wait. Don't drag your feet on this. Get your application in, and then you can always be on our wait list if you decide to kind of put this on pause. We only work with strong American partners that are looking for American employees. They come to us because either they cannot find people locally or they cannot find people overseas, and they're pretty desperate enough to reach out, pay us a fee for this service, and find the best and brightest, and help subsidize things like housing and make sure that they offer good wages and good jobs. And that's kind of what this is all about. So we're going to pre-screen a lot of these employers for you, and we're going to be that resource to be able to take care of you if something's going wrong, or you know, there's you just have a question or a concern. We're there for you. But again, you know, make sure you submit that application as soon as you possibly can. I cannot tell you how many times people, you know, submit their application for a specific job and then wait 3 weeks to get their references in, and that job is long gone. Here's some examples of some other mobilizers that have had, you know, recent experiences with us. There's some great adventures that we've had. We've got a lot of people right now in Nantucket Island. We've got some people in Cape Cod in Massachusetts. We've got, you know, some people coming up in Utah, as I mentioned. We've had people in North Carolina, all over the place. And, you know, you can hear it from them on our social media channel. Go to Mobilize Jobs US, go to Mobilize Jobs US on Facebook, talk to the actual mobilizers that are in the field. You don't have to hear it from me. You know, we've got people who are working and traveling right now. And they share their experiences with everybody. So, you know, the program keeps getting better and better as we learn more and more about the type of people who are interested in these kinds of adventures. So, what kind of job am I going to have? What am I actually going to be doing? Well, various positions that exist right now: hospitality, tourism, restaurant, customer service. Sometimes we have driving, sometimes we have retail. Changes all the time. Oftentimes it's a combination of both front of house and back of house, although popularity right now tends to be back of house just because of COVID, because oftentimes you're not dealing with customers regularly. You've got your people that are in your bubble. If you're in a cleaning role, it's amazing. You know, those are so popular now because you've got bleach in your hands, you've got a mask on all day. You know, you don't have to necessarily worry about interaction. Your schedule's very defined. It's a lot easier of a role than maybe working in a busy restaurant in a serving capacity. I know that as of today, I've got a lot of these roles that are open. So yeah, so just get your application in and you'll have the opportunity to submit a specific request. Although, you know, it's 4 to 6 month placements. Maybe this is an opportunity to try something that you've never done before. And that's a big part of this program, is getting some exposure to some different areas and some different roles. Here's an experience of a past mobilizer that we've had. Again, all this is online. If you head to mobilizejobs.com, you can see what's going on. But, Blake Arias had an amazing opportunity. He came up from, I believe he was in Miami, and he had, 3 different placements. He's still up there. He fell in love. He's managing a restaurant in Cape Cod right now. So there's tremendous different opportunities for you. And again, you can talk to any of these individuals that have had these experiences already. There's Al and a couple other really awesome mobilizers that we had in the program that learned how to ski for the first time and lived in Utah and in Colorado and had their adventure. So again, there's tremendous opportunities for some really cool stuff that you'll have access to. And that's it for today. You can see some press that we've had and some credibility that we've built over the years just by doing this for as long as we have. We are around, and you can reach out to us at any time. And if this is something that you're still crazy enough and want to try, please continue your application process, get this process moving, and we'll meet face to face on a video interview in the next little while. Touching on the COVID situation right now, again, how has that affected us? Well, we saw some of our placements shift a little bit. The dates changed a little bit, but most of our operators are still recruiting. They're still placing people in the program. There's still opportunity out there for you and jobs out there for you. It's mostly a matter of, finding the right ones. We abide by all of the safety standards that are out there right now, and every placement does things a little differently, but we're going to work very carefully and closely with you to make sure that we've addressed all your concerns. Again, you're going to be able to have all the information on a particular property before you make that final decision. And so, we're going to make sure we've addressed all of your concerns at this point. But in many cases, the locations that we're sending people to have a lot lower infection rate than, some of these bigger locations. So, most of our properties are in some of the safest zones there are right now. Again, we're always available for questions, but bring those to your interview. That'll be the next stage. You should see a text message shortly with some questions, that just making sure that you were paying attention to me today, and you'll have an opportunity to answer more at that stage. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. We'll talk soon, and have a great day.